Okay, so does Starbucks not make steamers? Because I love steamers and I thought it was just like steamed milk. And I walked into Starbucks and I asked the lady if they had steamers year round because I thought they had it as like a seasonal thing. And she said steamers? And I was like, I think it's just like steamed milk. And she said, oh yeah, we have steamed milk. And I said, okay, can you steam almond milk? And she was like, yeah, you just want steamed almond milk. And I was like, yeah, I think so. She seemed very, very confused. And now I'm confused. Do I not know what a steamer is? But now I have me some steamed almond milk. Hey guys, so today's video is going to be my second anti-haul. You guys really seem to enjoy my first one, so I thought I would do another one. There's a lot of stuff I'm not buying. So I feel that now whenever I don't know what to film, I'm probably just gonna film an anti-haul. The first thing I am not planning on spending my money on is the ABH Prism Palette. I have never, let me think. I'm pretty sure I have never tried an Anastasia shadow before. Eyeshadow, period. I don't have the Modern Renaissance palette. I never tried the Subculture palette. I don't think I've ever tried any of her singles. I don't think I've ever tried anything from Anastasia Beverly Hills before. It's not all the Subculture palette drama stuff that's going on that makes me not want the Prism palette. I think it is the shade selection in the Prism palette that makes me not too excited about it. I don't think it looks very cohesive. It looks like one of those in-between palettes. It looks like you have some crease shades that you need, but I feel like I would need to dip into another palette anyway. But at the same time, it kind of looks like a palette that is full of sort of pops of colors that you don't find in other palettes. So you would have to mix it with a different palette anyway. I don't know, I'm not crazy about the shade selection in this palette. I feel like I prefer this shade selection in the Subculture palette, and I'm not really planning on buying the Subculture palette either, but I think I know I'm more likely to buy the Subculture, regardless of all the negativity surrounding it, versus the Prism palette. I'm also not going to be buying the new Lou-Mannizer from the Balm. This is the Bonnie Lou-Mannizer. They have the Mary Lou-Mannizer, the Betty Lou-Mannizer, and Cindy Lou-Mannizer? They're basically just highlights for different skin tones. To me, they look like a bronzer, blush, and a highlight. And now they've come out with the Bonnie Lou-Mannizer, which from the swatch, it looks a little bit too deep on my skin tone. It's sort of like a peachy looking highlight, I think. And I don't know, again, I think it's a shade thing. I'm just more likely to try out the Mary Lou-Mannizer versus the Bonnie Lou-Mannizer. And I've heard that these highlights are ridiculously prone to breaking. This Tarte contour palette, I think this is another holiday release. Again, it's just not speaking to me. First of all, the packaging is stunning. Beautiful. And I do like that it looks different from the typical contour kits that you see on the market with like the 2 rows, the top row is the highlights, and the bottom row is the contours. This one, it looks like it has 2 highlights and 4 contours, which is what it would be on my skin tone. But I don't know, when it comes to contouring and highlighting, I feel like I already have sort of my products that I always reach for. I don't really contour a whole lot. Like in my day-to-day life, I usually just bronze the crap out of my skin with my butter bronzer and set my under eyes with my RCMA No Color Powder. I don't do a lot of highlighting underneath the eyes. So for me, I kind of feel like that might be a little bit of a waste of money. It is beautiful though, and it looks pretty small and compact, so that'd be nice for travel, on the go. I've never tried anything from Huda Beauty. I feel like I only really anti-haul things from brands that I've never tried before. Maybe I need to broaden my horizons a little bit. But I'm not going to be buying the Huda Beauty foundation, the new one that's just now coming out. They also sell a brush, which I've heard bad things about the brush. I've heard okay, pretty good things about the primer, but I also just don't know how I feel about the foundation. The packaging, again, is beautiful. It actually is plastic, which I think might actually be a good thing, less breakable, but it still looks very luxurious and fancy. The one thing that is really cool is that it has a shade range of 30 different shades, which is so cool, especially for an initial launch. Usually a brand will do sort of a soft launch and only launch just a couple of shades at the beginning to see how it sells, which shades are in higher demand, things like that, before they add to the shade range. But right off the bat, she's coming out with 30 shades, which is awesome. And I don't know if I'm wrong, but I feel that I've heard it's suited more for oily skin, which at the moment my skin is much more dry than it is oily. It gets sort of oily throughout the day, but I have crazy dry patches. And it's also 40 bucks, which I'd say is pretty standard for a high-end foundation as long as there's a full ounce in that bottle. That's a typical standard foundation size. I think it's mostly just that I'm not one to try high-end foundations. I don't think I have any high-end liquid foundations. Any high-end foundation that I've tried / love and still use are powder foundations. Mostly probably just because powder foundations are really lacking at the drugstore. But I guess I'm just not one to spend that much money on a high-end liquid foundation. I guess I just find what I like at the drugstore. How cool is it that Colourpop is now being sold at Sephora? What is all over my sweater? That's such a cool thing to happen to like this industry, because Colourpop was only available online before, and now maybe it'll be a little bit more accessible, maybe for people in other countries. Not gonna lie, I probably would have preferred to see Colourpop come to Ulta, but with that being said, they sort of announced the semi-precious shadow palette. I believe that how it's gonna work, don't quote me on this, but I think that Colourpop is gonna release some of their regular line at Sephora's, and then they'll also have certain products, like a certain line of products that are only available at Sephora, like Sephora exclusive products, and I believe this semi-precious shadow palette is one of them. I'm not planning on getting this because it's 26 bucks and it only comes with 8 shades. But with that being said, I do believe that each shadow has more product in it than their 12 pan palettes. Let me just go ahead and check, shall I? So each shadow in this palette, which has 12 shades, this is the I Think I Love You palette, and each shadow has 0.03 ounces. And in the semi-precious palette, there's 8 different shades, and each shadow has 0.07 ounces. The semi-precious is $26, and this I Think I Love You palette is only $16. So you get more shades, less product, less money. And with the semi-precious, you get less shades, but more product and more money. But it's not the money or anything like that that I think bothers me about this palette. I think it's just the fact that I do not gravitate towards all shimmer palettes. There's not a single matte in this palette, and I prefer matte eyeshadows over shimmers. I just prefer the way that they look and the way that they work on my skin. But you guys know that Colourpop is my favorite brand. I was about to say one of my favorite brands. It's not, it's my favorite brand. But I just don't think I'm gonna drop 30 bucks for this palette specifically. And along those same lines, they're launching another palette at Sephora, the Golden State of Mind shadow palette. This one's also 26 bucks, but it comes with 15 eyeshadows. And you know what? I think it's the same thing. This is an all shimmer palette. I don't personally, for me, I don't see the point in purchasing a palette that's 100% shimmer. I mean, I guess I see the point because you can mix it with an all matte palette, but I don't usually go into doing an eye look with the mentality that, oh, don't forget, pick 2 palettes, one for mattes and one's for shimmers. I don't know. I'm just not gravitating towards it. And not for 26 bucks. I feel like I gravitate more towards the 12 pans because they're the perfect amount of shades to do a bunch of different looks, and they're only 16 bucks. So I don't know, I think I just prefer the 12 pans. And I prefer a palette with at least some mattes in it, maybe like a matte. What I would love to see, you know what I would love to see? Oh my gosh. What I would love to see that I would spend 26 bucks on, like that, is a palette from Colourpop with 15 pans that were all matte. I would buy that so fast, you have no idea. I don't know, I have a thing for all matte palettes. I love it. That palette would be getting my 26 bucks. This Golden State of Mind shadow palette, I don't think so. I don't think so. Don't mark my words though, because you know I might end up with it someday, just because I'm a Colourpop addict and I can't help myself. But as of now, no, I'm not planning on buying any all shimmer Colourpop palettes. Okay, you guys, when I saw this, girl, I will never, mark my words, never buy the Too Faced Better Than Sex Stilettos. Yes, Too Faced has come out with high heels. I'm not exactly sure how this works. I haven't looked into it at all. I just saw this on Trend Mood and I was like, what? I think they're just available on the Too Faced website, and they're 225 buckaroos. I am not at a point in my life where I could feel comfortable or sane spending $225 on a pair of shoes. I spent $225 on makeup before and I don't feel bad. Honestly, I gotta say, I think it's mainly the price tag. And secondly, I don't like the way they look. I'm sorry, I just don't think they're cute. Even if these shoes were like 50 bucks, I probably wouldn't buy them. Actually, if they were 50 bucks, I know I wouldn't buy them. Especially, I have nowhere to wear shoes like that. No, sorry, I am not spending $225 on a pair of shoes that I will never wear. So it looks like Dose of Colors brought back their Hidden Treasure palette, which I think it got most of its attention because the layout of the palette is really interesting. It's a layout that I've never seen in an eyeshadow palette before. It's very scattered and dispersed, which is kind of cool, you know, it's unique. It's also a very warm palette and it looks primarily shimmer to me, so I don't think I would get that much use out of it. And it's also about 50 bucks, and there are just other palettes that are 50 bucks that I want worse. I am not spending the money on any of the Winter Solstice collection by Huda Beauty. Mainly, actually I wanna say only because it is an all like iridescent collection. Everything is opaly and has some sort of colorful shift to it, and that's just not what I go for on a day-to-day basis. Therefore, I don't want to spend the money on something that I won't wear very often. There's like a highlighter palette and some lip products, it looks like. I don't really wear lip products that often anyway, especially not ones that are like crazy neon colors like that. This is a collection that would be fun if you're doing some laser tag night with your friend or something, or some like glow-in-the-dark thing where, you know, everybody dresses up in neon stuff. This stuff, that would be fun for me. But I don't wear iridescent stuff on my face on a daily basis. I don't know, I just don't. So that's everything for this anti-haul. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. Again, I'm not trying to talk crap about anybody or anybody's brands, any makeup products, nothing like that. It's just, these are the products I don't want to buy. As a consumer, you know, you gotta pick and choose. Very few people in the world have enough money to buy all the makeup. All of the makeup. So I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss any future videos of mine, and I will see you guys next time. Oh, are you done? Are you done barking like a crazy man? And if you're someone who does more contouring, the dude making my drink saw this A on the cup and he was like, what is this? What is this supposed to be? And the girl was like, it's just steamed almond milk. They were really confused. Are you done barking like a crazy man?